how to style and customize Contact Form 7. In this video session, I'm going to show you how you can style and customize the popular plugin for WordPress called Contact Form 7. This will be a RankYa fan special video. That means I'll be sharing some sample codes for you to use and tweak for your own WordPress site, okay? So this is a follow-up video for the blog post that I'm creating for RankYa fans, showing you many different settings and tweaks for Contact Form 7. That means simply head out to RankYa blog, locate Contact Form 7 How To by RankYa blog post. Under the heading How to Style and Customize Contact Form 7, you'll see a link to the sample CSS file. Simply press on it. It's a zip file. That means you need to download it to your local computer. Then simply right-click the folder that you've downloaded and extract it to your local computer. Because within that folder, there is a CSS file. Let's open that up. Now, I've just used Dreamweaver, but you can right-click and open with a notepad if you want. Simply highlight the CSS. Let's copy it. Now, to be able to style a Contact Form 7, you have various options to place that styling code. I'll show you where they are first. When you're logged into your WordPress dashboard, so your WordPress site, on the top bar you'll have a link. It says Customize. You can press on that and open it. And here, each WordPress site Customize option gives you a menu link for additional CSS. Let's press on that, and you can simply paste that sample code, and then once you make the tweaks, as I will show you, then you can publish it. So the CSS code can go through the customize option of WordPress, or you can log into your WordPress dashboard, locate appearance. Here you have the same link. It says customize. So you can press on that and do the same thing, okay? Also, with WordPress appearance, you have theme editor. Let's press on that. Each WordPress theme by default will have a file called style.css. Simply press into it. Then you can paste that sample CSS code here. Or if you don't want to use the sample CSS code and make your own CSS styles, these are the places where you need to make the adjustments to style and customize Contact Form 7, okay? So I've shown you the customize menu link or the theme editor, style.css. But what if you do not see the theme editor here? Because that could happen for some WordPress setups. Then you can log into your web hosting account. Under File Manager, menu link in your cPanel, you simply press on it, then go into public_HTML. That's the usual naming convention. Then there is a folder called WP-content. In there you have themes folder, and in there is the theme that you're using on your site. And within that theme folder, there is a file called style.css. So you can right click and make adjustments from your web hosting account. Keep in mind, whether you tweak the style sheet from your dashboard or through your web hosting, you're basically editing the same file, okay? So now we've got that out of the way. Let's go and see, first of all, what that sample code will do. So let's just grab the CSS, highlight all. Let's copy. Now, since I've created a test site for these videos, let's imagine an unstyled contact form 7. Let's imagine you have an unstyled version of contact form 7 on your site. Then let's just see what happens when we press customize, then put that additional CSS. Let's paste it in there, Control V. And as you can see, look what happened. So that means if I remove all that, just to show you, so this is an unstyled contact form 7 that we're looking at. And the sample code that I've created for RankYa fans, when you paste it, this is what happens. As you can see, it's much more cleaner, it's much more visually appealing, and all you need to do is, let's imagine this blue color here, you don't like it, you want to change that. Then we can say okay, that's the input submit field. Let's cut that out. Let's just find where that color is coming from, because then it'll be much easier for you. Let's imagine we just say that's that area, that's the input. I've got the submit button, which is this one here. Here I've placed the comment style according to your own brand assets. Let's imagine your theme and your brand assets is color green. Then simply locate this particular CSS class, locate background color, and then let's just change that to green. And all of a sudden, look what happened. But let's imagine you were using color orange for your theme and your brand assets, and you wanted to change the color of that button. All you need to do is just tweak that, and the rest is simplified. Then you simply publish. Let's do that right here, right now. Let's publish it. Now that is saved. Let's close the customizer and let's see what our contact form 7 styles look like. Make sense? So it's simple, quick and easy. If you end up using the sample codes that I've created for you. And as you can see, everything aligns correctly. It looks much more visually appealing by simply copying and pasting and just changing that background color to be different. Now, let's go back into customize, because I'm going to show you how you can change the background color for hover action, because these are important website optimization techniques. Since contact forms are absolutely important, insight that I can share with you is this: make the web form as simple as possible and triple check the required fields that you want to ask your website visitors or potential customers to fill in. Meaning, the simpler the web form, better it is for your conversions. And your task as a website owner who wants to achieve higher conversions is to simplify the visual aspects of a contact form, including your entire website. Simplicity converts higher always. So let's imagine the background color, as we can see, is green here when someone hovers over the submit button. For us to be able to change that, all we need to do is change the background color for the submit button when it is active, when it's focused into, or when it's hovered over. And there is a background color for that as well. Let's make that blue. Now I'm using simple words in color, but I'm going to show you how you can get the hex codes for color as well. So now look what happened. So the hover action is done through this here, whether it's activated, focused into, or hover. So the background color can be changed according to your brand assets as well. And the text color, as we can see, is blurted out. Let's actually change that to be white. Now when someone hovers over it, the text color in that button is also color white, okay? So simple adjustments, and all of a sudden, quick and easy method, so you don't have to learn all the CSS, what happens when someone focuses into a form, and all that stuff, okay? By using RankYa codes. Now that's done, let's close the customizer, and this is what the form looks like. Now I'm going to show you a bit more in-depth insights for styling a contact form 7 and how that works. At this moment, by using the sample codes and the insights that I've just shared with you, you can quickly and easily customize your contact form 7, okay? So basically you can close this video unless you want to dive in deep and learn about CSS and coding, all that stuff. So on our keyboard using Google Chrome browser, we can press on F12 to bring out Web Developer Toolbar. And there is an arrow icon here. We can press on it and select it. When we do, and hover over any elements within a web page, as you can see, Web Developer Toolbar gives us insights, as in it changes things. So let's imagine we want to press on this first field, which is a text field. Here we can see the styles that is making that work is shown to us on the right hand side here. So let's imagine we wanted to make this 330 pixels. Let's say the width is 330 pixels, and that changes there. Now, since I made the change, all of these fields have changed, right? Now, the reason for that is because when we added this style here from the developer toolbar, we're basically affecting the rest of the CSS rules here. So that means if I just wanted to tweak the text field, I would need to go element.style and say width for that particular field only 330 pixels. Now that has changed without reflecting the other. But this is a web developer toolbar. That means any customization, any tweaks that we make here for our contact form 7, as soon as we close the tab or refresh the page, it'll all be gone. That means it's not updated on the site. The only way to update the site itself, we need to follow the customize option through additional CSS, or we need to add it style.css, okay? So keep that in mind. So now, each contact form 7, that's the form. So if I grab the form, I can press into it and then just press on the form tab here in the code itself. Here, as you can see, there is a class because contact form 7 has a default class called WPCF7-form. So that is the class that you added. Let's imagine we do that through additional CSS. I'm going to grab everything and say dot is for the class, and that is the form. So what we're saying now is when the CSS rule is the browser comes across and I want to say, okay, background, we're editing a class here. Background color, let's make it red. And let's say the important, let's just say that to override the other background color rules that your site may be using. So now what we've said is, okay, the form with a class, this, well, not a form, but okay, let's say form dot class. Now we're saying when there is a form with a class WPCF7-form, then the background should be changed as such. So whatever rules we place here, it will be reflected. Keep in mind, learning CSS will require a lot of time, energy, effort on your part. That is why I've created the sample codes. But nonetheless, now you wanted to dive deeper, this is how you can style things. While you're in the customizer, you can actually use the web developer toolbar and make adjustments accordingly. Let's imagine we wanted to place space between these form fields. Then we would grab the arrow key, browse into a field, then we can see from style.css, which is the main style for the theme, is using some sort of a CSS rules here, but that is for all input fields, right? Therefore, if we wanted to customize contact form 7 specifically, we need to make sure we end up saying, okay, when there is a class, because we know that is to do with the contact form 7 form, and we can say input. Actually, let's just copy this instead of typing. We put a space in our additional CSS field, and we say, okay, when there is an input field type text within a class called this, let's say margin bottom, let's make it 30 pixels. As you can see, margin has now reflected. So this is how we customize the CSS. Okay, so keep in mind what we're doing here. We're making sure that we are only customizing contact form 7. For that, we need to use the class, okay? But using pixels is not smart in 2021 when we're talking about mobile first index world. That means we need to improve the mobile usability. Therefore, the measuring rules for CSS, such as REM or M or even percentages, is much smarter than using hard-coded pixel values, okay? So margin bottom, let's just say 1 rem. So for my theme, 1 rem should be calculated as 16 pixels. For us to find out the calculated value, we need to grab the arrow icon, hover into the field that we want to style, and then Web Developer Toolbar has a tab called Computed. Let's press into that, and here is the margin. As we can hover over different parts of that field, we can see the margin, and you can see its background goes into, let's just actually remove that, and let's grab the arrow key again. As you can see, that's the actual field. We've got padding 10 pixels calculated, it has border 3 pixels calculated, and the margin here, only margin bottom, is 16 pixels. So now let's just do margin top as well. Margin top, and let's just say 1 rem. That 1 rem is coming from the theme styles. So 1 rem in this example will equal to 16 pixels. Now, a CSS rule, or perhaps a trick for you, or perhaps an insight, is that it is smart to provide value at the higher HTML level and hard code that. That means if we end up seeing, let's imagine the font size, we can see it is coming from, okay, that's a different theme, so you won't see that. For this, let's use a different site. I'll just show you where that value is coming from. Style, normal, comes from. Font size is 13 pixels. But HTML, theme options, through this theme options, I've styled the body. You could have easily styled the HTML and the body. Or you can just style with an asterisk to cover everything. So you can begin by styling the higher level and then hard code that. And then when you do, then when you end up using the RAM values, that will be taken into equation. Make sense? So therefore your site is more mobile and responsive. So let's go back to editing our contact form 7. This is how you style and customize. You go to customizing additional CSS, use Google Developer Toolbar, and hover over elements, and then you can see the styles that's been calculated, the computed values. You can always press on the triangle icon to say, okay, where's that color coming from? Press on it, then the Google Developer Toolbar will show you where the parent calculations, as in CSS rules, are coming from. And then you can press on that to learn more, as in where it came from, or customize it by your own CSS rules. Make sense? As you can see, this particular select element is too close to the text area. So now let's just say, okay, you know what? I want to make sure there is a bit of a padding or margin there. Then you can grab the arrow icon and hover over the select element, select the element, and just say, okay, margin, bottom, let's just make it 2 rem. And all of a sudden, that just looks a little bit better. In terms of usability for your website visitors, they will understand that that select element compared to the text area is 2 different fields they need to select and edit and so on, right? Because without that, now the user may think, okay, in this example, I want WordPress SEO. They may not even know that they need to select something here, right? So then we just say, all right, what if we put a bit of a margin there? Or what if we say, okay, make that more distinct by saying margin top. Let's just say 4 rem. But then there is that span element, which was I want. I need to style that too, right? So this is how you can do styling. Now, what else can we do? Okay, margin top didn't work out, so I can cut that out. But here I really didn't style anything because I'm just editing and tweaking things, right? Because we need the select element, so we need to style the select element. And let's do that for only contact form 7. So let's grab the form class, paste it in there, put a space and say, okay, all select elements within this class, let's just put some margin bottom there because it just looks better. And let's just say 2 rem. Okay, and let's just remove that because that was a developer toolbar. Now, if I cut that out, look what happened to the select element now. Make sense? Now, once you are happy with all the customizations that you're making, then you can press on publish, and then Bob's your uncle. But right now, that even doesn't look good. That's why I've created the sample codes, because it's much more user-friendly. Now, what else can we do to our contact form 7? Let's just go, I'll show you RankYa website contact forms, because just making these simple adjustments, not only your site will look better, it'll be much user-friendly for your website visitors to contact you, and that's what you really want anyway, right? Let's leave that out. Okay. Take a look at this web form here. If I press on F12 on our keyboard and then say OK, what if we toggle different mobile devices here? What if we select iPhone X? How will my web form look when someone uses iPhone X? How will my website web form will look if someone was using iPad Pro? Let's press on it. It'll look like that. What if someone was using Galaxy S5? Let's select that. And this is how it looks like. Now the sample codes gives further insights, meaning when someone presses into the first field, look what happened. The color changed a little, giving visual cues to that website visitor as to say, you know what? You're in that field and there is a placeholder called name. So therefore, simply place your name there. And then next, when they move into the email element, the color changed. So providing a bit more insights for usability. And that's what you want. And as you can see, different mobile devices, it doesn't matter which one someone uses, the sample codes I've shared with you is fully responsive. Okay, now, while here, remember, simplicity will always perform better. That means make your web form as simple as possible. Furthermore, by using cues such as placeholder, then you're making the person's job easy as to what the information that you want from them. Make sense? Let's imagine they were into this field here and there's a placeholder called name. So now they know they need to put name information. And the second one, by just using a placeholder information, we've just said, okay, you know what? Provide your email. If you're not happy with the placeholder on your site, such as email, then you can say, okay, you know, maybe you want to change it. Maybe you want to test email at example. Let's save changes. Let's refresh here. Let's see what happens. Now, that placeholder information changed. So if you think, you know what, that's better, visual cue for your website visitors, then use the placeholder accordingly. It's only smart. Here we said, how can we help? That's actually perhaps for small business owners or local business owners that you're offering services. Then, of course, how can you help? Make sense? And then you can say, type your message here with 3 dots, telling the visitor saying, you know what, we're here to help. This is the message area that you need to fill out. And then press on send. Make sense? So this is how you style and customize contact form 7. Yeah, since most RankYa fans are small business owners, local business owners, without that technical knowledge, I've basically divided this video tutorial into 2 sections. The first part was for you to simply grab the sample codes and simply change the background color, as I've commented as to where you need to change that. Simply change the background color to match your own brand assets color. That's the background color. And for when someone hovers over that button, the background color can be changed here. Now, as I've said, I was going to show you where you get the hex codes from. You can actually do that from Google Developer Toolbar. Let's imagine we selected the button here. As you can see, the styles that's already there, Developer Toolbar has shown us the color box here, right? So we can actually press into that, as in on it, and say, okay, what if I change it to be this? Or what if you say, no, my brand colors are perhaps green? Then you can play around the color settings here using Google Developer Toolbar. And that's actually great, right? So once you're happy with that color, then you can select it. And here's the code. Here's the hex code. You can copy that and then change the background color for that by placing that color code there. So you get that from the Developer Toolbar, okay? That's with whether it's background color, whether it's border color, we can change all that right here. And then Google Chrome Developer Toolbar gives us the hex code as well. There are predetermined colors here, so you can play around, tweak it to match your website theme colors and so on. And then once you're happy with what you see here, simply make changes according to the insights that I've just shared with you. Now, do, however, visit RankYa blog, because I'm going to actually create how to optimize Contact Form 7 so it loads much faster and better as well. Now, if you benefited from this video session, please do share the blog post, also the video, give it a like or comment if you think, you know what, I'm unsure about something. So when I log into my YouTube channel, I'll comment back accordingly. I thank you very much for learning with RankYa, and I'll talk with you in the next video session.